Okay, hi, good day everyone. So today we'll be doing January 2023, number 8. Right, so number 8 is algebra, relations and functions, and a graph question. Right, now number 8. The functions f, g, and h are defined as the following. The function for f of x is 4x minus 1. G of x is equals to x squared minus 5. And h of x is 3 to the power of x. Find g of x minus 2 in its simplest form. So if we were to compare g of x and gx of squared, if we were to compare, not squared, g of x minus 2, if we were to compare the brackets, it is safe to say in our function for g, x is equal to x minus 2. So that means in our g of x equation, which is x squared minus 5, wherever we see x, we're going to put x minus 2. So we're going to say g of x minus 2 is equal to, instead of x squared, we're going to put x minus 2. I'm putting brackets because we have to square this entire thing, okay? All squared minus 5. So before we do anything, we need to find out what is x minus 2 all squared. Now, x minus 2 all squared just means x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 2. All right, so we're going to take one term and multiply it by the entire second bracket, and then take the second term in the first bracket and multiply it by the entire thing in the second bracket. What I mean is I'm going to multiply x, which is my first term in my first bracket, and multiply it by everything in my second bracket, which is x minus 2. And then I'm going to take my second term in my first bracket, which is minus 2, and multiply it by everything in my second bracket, x minus 2. So now we're going to multiply x by x is x squared. X by minus 2 is minus 2x. Minus 2 by x is, again, minus 2x. And then we have minus 2 by minus 2. Minus and a minus is a plus, so we have plus 4. Which is, this will be equal to x squared minus 2x is minus 4x plus 4. So where we have x minus 2 all squared, we're going to put this right here, which is x squared minus 4x plus 4. So now we're going to say g of x minus 2 is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4, which is what this bracket is, and then we have minus 5. All right, so now the only thing that we could subtract is 4 minus 5, which is equal to x squared minus 4x, and 4 minus 5 is minus 1. So we can say that g of x minus 2 is equals to x squared minus 4x minus 1. And that would be your answer for 8A part 1. The second part has f inverse of 11. So before we even find f inverse of 11, we have to find what is f inverse of x. Now, what is the function that you're going to use for f inverse of x? If we look at the functions here, right, we will not be using g of x or h of x. The only one that we'll be using is this f of x here, which is 4x minus 1. So we're just going to write that down. What is f of x? So f of x is equal to 4x minus 1, right? And as we know, to find the inverse of any function, right, it's a three-step process. The first step is to let y be equal to the function in question. So the function in question is f, so we're going to say, so our first step, I'm just going to put 1 in pink so you'll know, right, would be to let y be equal to f of x, right? So you're going to say y is equals to 4x minus 1. That's the first step. Your second step, right, this is 2. Your second step would be to interchange or exchange x's and y's. What that just means is with this equation where y is equals to 4x minus 1, wherever you see x, you're going to put y, and wherever you see y, you're going to put x. So this will now become x is equal to 4y minus 1, right? And then the third step would be, right, make y the subject. So this is always how it goes, guys, right? Unless they use an x letter instead of x, they use a, right? That's the only difference. But this is how it would go. You let y be equals to the function in question. You exchange the two unknown variables, that is y and whatever letter it may be. In this case, it was x, right? When you interchange it, right, then you make y the subject. To make y the subject, if we have x is equals to 4y minus 1, we're going to carry across minus 1 over the equal sign. If we carry across minus 1 over the equal sign, the opposite of minus 1 is plus 1 is equals to 4y. Now, after we carry across that, we have to, I'm going to go up here so we'll have space. We're going to carry across multiply by 4. The opposite of multiply by 4 is divide by 4. So now we get y is equal to x plus 1 all divided by 4. And whatever we get y is equal to, that is the inverse of our function. So the inverse of f of x, or f inverse x, is equal to x plus 1 all divided by 4. Right? Now we want to find f inverse of 11. So that just means f inverse of 11 tells us that x is equal to 11. So f inverse of 11 is equals to 11 plus 1 all divided by 4. 11 plus 1 is 12. 12 divided by 4 is equals to 3. So we know that the answer for this equal to 3. Okay, so part B says determine the value of h of x, h of 1. So we have h of 1, and I said whenever we see letters like this, let me just write that over. Whenever we see two letters together like that, we're going to put a bracket in between the two letters to not differentiate them, but to separate them, right? So we have this here. So you're going to put it in pink so just to differentiate. Now we know that h of x was given above. H of x is equals to 3 to the power of x, right? So we're going to do the bracket first. The bracket first says h of 1, which means that x is equal to 1. So that's 3 to the power of 1, which is equals to 3. So now wherever we see h of 1, we're going to put 3. So it's going to be h of 3. Instead of h of 1, you're going to put 3 because that is the answer for h of 1, right? And we know that h of x is again 3 to the power of x. So that means x is equals to 3. So h of 3 is equal to 3 to the power of, what is x? 3. 3 to the power of 3 is equals to 27, which is 3 3s are 9, 9 3s are 27. And that is how we will get the value of this is equals to 27. So part C says the function f is defined as following. So f of x is x squared minus x minus 2. Complete the table below to plot the graph of the function f of x is equals to x squared minus x minus 2 on the grid below. They gave us values for x, which is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and they're telling us to find f of x. F of x being if we're looking at coordinates, f of x is also known as y, right? So when they're telling us to find f of x when x is equals to -2, that is basically they are saying to find x is equals to -2. So it would be f of what x is equals to -2. That just means x is equals to -2. We're going to put it in this function right here, which is equal wherever we see x. Remember, f of x is equal to x squared minus x minus 2. So wherever we see x, we're going to put -2. So it's going to be -2 squared minus -2 minus 2. Right? -2 squared is -2 multiplied by -2, which is 4. Then a minus and a minus is a plus. So this is +2, right? -2. We see that 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So my answer for when x is -2, that is 4. All right. Then we're going to do the second part. They said, because they already gave us the values for the others, we need to find out when x is equals to 0. So when x is equals to 0, that just means that wherever we see x in f of x equation, we're going to put 0. So that means f of 0 would be 0 squared minus 0 minus 2. So f of 0 would be equal to 0 squared is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, and 0 minus 2 is -2. So we see that this here is -2 right here. And that would be the answer for f of, no, when, that would be the answer when x is equal to 0. F of 0 is equals to -2. So now, guys, if we know anything about coordinates, we know it's always the x value first and the y value. So my coordinate for this first point would be -2, 4. Right? The next one is going to be -1, 0. The next one is going to be 0 minus 2. Hold on one second, guys. So then we have this right here. And then this one would be 1 and -2. Right? X is 1, y is -2. This would be 2, 0, x is 2, y is 0. And this one would be x is 3, y is 4. Now, if we read in this graph, we didn't even need to do a scale because they gave us the scale. Use a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit. 1 unit, 2 centimeters would be 2 of these, right? We know that this is 1 centimeter. From here to here is 1 centimeter. So when they say 2 centimeters is 1 unit, it's 2 of these is 1, right? So first off, what we're going to do is check the largest number in our x values and the largest number in our y. So we're going to check the largest value of x, which is 3, and the lowest is -2. So my x-axis must have values from -2 straight up to 3. So we're going to start with -2. Right now, this what I'm writing here is scrap, right? You don't need to, you're writing it in pencil very lightly when you're doing it. So you're going to put -2, and instead of 1 space, you're going to do 2 spaces, because remember they said 2 centimeters is 1 unit. So it'll be -2 minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You just need to make sure that you have all the lowest value and the highest value in the table above, right? Which we do. And then if we look at our y-axis, or y's, the largest is 4 and the smallest is -2. So on our y-axis, we have to start with, we won't start with -2, we'll start with -3. So -3 here, 2 spaces is 1 unit, so it'll be -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we already see that we have the lowest value for y and the highest value for y on our y-axis, right? Then after we do this at the end, we will see now where our x-axis and y-axis is going. These axes are going where x is equals to 0. That would be our y-axis. That's the one going up, and where y is equals to 0, that is our x-axis. So let us now just draw it. So I'm going to do it in right. So we're going to go straight across, and we're going to label this horizontal one. We're going to label it our x-axis. And in our x-axis, we know y is equals to 0. Right? Then we're going to go up, right? This right here. We're going to go up. Let me just extend it. We're going to label that there our y-axis. I'm supposed to label it on top here y, right? This is our y-a-x-i-s, right? So this is our y-axis and that's our x-axis. Now that we have drawn the axis, then we're going to label the numbers that we have, exactly what we have. So this here will be -2, -1, where the x and y axis crosses our point of origin, which is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing for our y axis, right? So guys, we can erase this afterwards. We don't need this, right? Remember that was scrap, right? So very likely you're going to draw it with pencil and then you're going to erase it after you have used it. So we're going to have -3, -2, -1. We already know this is 0, 1. Let's go up, right? 2, 2, 3, and 4. Right? Those are, and then after we just erase what is outside here, that's so we will not get confused. Right? So the numbers that we wrote outside the graph paper was just to show the location of the numbers after you drew your lines. Right, so the first coordinate we're going to draw is -2, 4. We have it up here, -2, 4. That is x is -2, y is 4. So my first coordinate will go right here. I'm going to put it in blue to denote it. You can either put an x or a dot with a circle around it, right? The next coordinate is -1, 0. That means y is equals to 0. We know y is equals to 0 on our x-axis, so that would be right here. The next one is 0 minus 2. X is 0, y is -2. We know on our y-axis, x is 0, so that would be right here. The next coordinate is 1 minus 2. So x is 1, y is -2, so that's right here. Right, the next one is 2, 0. That means x is 2, y is 0, so that is on your x-axis again. And then the next one is 3, 4. That means x is 3, y is 4. So that would be x is 3, y is 4 would be quite up here. right? And that is how, let's just zoom out so you guys could see everything. This is how your graph will be plotted, right? Right, so after you connect all the points, you're supposed to get this U-shaped graph. A U-shaped graph is called a parabola, okay? And that would be the end of January 2023.